Hey, so I'm gonna give you a tour of this stealth camper that I converted. I lived out of this van in San Francisco for a year and I was able to park overnight almost anywhere I wanted to, even in front of people's houses. So let's get started. So the design of this conversion is very simple. There's two major parts. The first part is the base cabinets down below. This is where I store most of my stuff and where I sleep on top of. The second part is the cabinets in the back, which houses my plumbing and my electrical. So let's start with these bottom cabinets. So this compartment here is one of my larger ones. In here, I keep some clothes, some cookware, camping stuff, and larger items. Here is my foam mattress that I sleep on, and this unfolds to cover the whole length of these storage cabinets. If you take a look at my passenger seat, you can see that it's folded down and pushed all the way to the front. And this allows me to add this extension, which gives me more space for my bed. So this compartment here is basically my bathroom. Here, I keep my cassette toilet, basic bathroom stuff and toiletries in that bin. On the other side, I have dirty laundry and cleaning supplies, so basic bathroom stuff. And I even have a shower in this compartment. So what I do is I take this whole lid out, then I take all the stuff that's in the compartment out. Underneath all this stuff is a shower pan with a drain that goes straight through the floor and into a gray water tank that's mounted underneath my van. Then I take a board that unfolds to create the stall for my shower. Right now you can't see it, but underneath that lid is a sink and a faucet, and that's where I get my water. The inside of my van, it's not tall enough for me to stand up in, so I do have to crouch or sit down when I'm showering. Not the most convenient thing, but hey, if I wanted to shower in a parking lot without anyone noticing, then the option is there. Alright, so in the back here is my desk/sink. Right now it's a desk because the lid is closed and it's where I sometimes work from. Right next to my desk are wall outlets and USB ports, so it's a super convenient place to charge my phone and my laptop. How I set up the seat for my desk is pretty simple. I take the lid and I fold it in half, then I sit on top of it like a bench. Then I take some of the stuff out from underneath so I have a place to put my feet. Then I can slide the lid up so I can sit closer to the desk. So now I'm going to show you the sink. So this is where I brush my teeth, wash my dishes, and for the past couple months, I've been shampooing my hair in this little sink because the showers at the gyms are closed and I don't feel like setting up my shower that's inside my van every day. This faucet here has a built-in electrical switch in it so that when I turn on the water, it also turns on the water pump. And when I lower the handle down, it turns everything off. Right next to my faucet is my shower hose hookup and my soap dispenser. So right next to my desk is a little compartment where I store some small tools and some charging cables. Right next to that is my reading light that I use every night when I'm getting ready for bed. On the side here is a little hand towel holder. And this here is probably my favorite storage compartment. So this drawer is probably one of the more intricate things in my van. It uses what would have been dead space on either side of the sink basin. You see, that's the sink right there. So in the house, this would normally be a dummy drawer front, so it would have been wasted space. But I wanted to use every single last square inch of this van, and this drawer is a really good example of that. There's also a cool hidden feature with this drawer. You see that gap right there? I can reach my hand through this gap and turn a valve that switches the tank that the pump draws from. This is going to make more sense when I show you the back, so let's head back there. Alright, so let's continue on with the plumbing system. So down here are my two fresh water tanks, and this right here is my water pump. Now the pump draws water from one of these flexible hoses that feed to the bottom of each of my tanks. When I finish one tank, I have to switch to the other one using that valve right there. And having access to that valve from the inside of my van means that I don't have to walk out here and open this door. Again, The idea is that I'm in a city and I don't want to enter and exit my van unnecessarily and potentially attract suspicion. Now, behind my 2 tanks is the drain pipe for my sink, and it is a flexible pipe that I curved in a way to act as a trap in order to prevent some of the odors in my grain tank from entering my van. The pipe goes through the floor and eventually ends in the gray tank that's underneath my van. Now, how do I empty the tank? Well, in theory, this switch right here is supposed to open a mechanical ball valve that's attached to the bottom of the tank and empty it that way. But I never use it. This entire plumbing system had no leaks except for the gray tank. There's a small, tiny little leak that causes it to drip until it's empty. And because it drips so slowly, it only leaves inconspicuous puddles of water, which eventually dry up. And this imperfection ended up making my life easier because I don't have to go out of my way to dump the water somewhere special. The tank empties itself. So that's pretty much the plumbing. Now I'm going to move on to the electrical. All right, so down here is my deep cycle battery that supplies power to the whole system, and it gets charged by these 2 solar panels up here. And the 2 panels connect to a charge controller that's located in this upper cabinet. Now, the charge controller is pretty much the brain of the solar system, and it knows how to deliver a correct charging voltage to the battery. This right here is my positive and my negative bus bar, and these split power throughout the whole system. Everything is protected by inline breakers like this and this one right here, and they also allow me to cut off power to separate parts of the system. This right here is my 12-volt fuse box that uses these little blade fuses. Down here is my 1000-watt inverter that's mounted above my battery, and that supplies 120 volts for my wall outlets. And this right here is the switch for the inverter. And the reason for this switch is because inverters always have a phantom load, meaning that they always draw a small amount of current from the battery even when it's not in use. So this switch cuts off that circuit entirely, so I don't have to worry about that. And I mounted the switch in a specific way that allows me to have access to the switch from the inside of my van. And the last thing is my automatic charging relay. Now, this is supposed to automatically charge my battery when the alternator of my car is running. But in my experience, this was unnecessary because I would park my car and not drive it for weeks, and my battery would still be full from just the solar panels. So that pretty much covers my electrical system. This right here is a privacy cover that's magnetic, and these cover my windows. Down here is my 2 mirror setup that I use to cut my own hair, and I use this little round mirror to get a little angle so I can see the back of my head. Now, the idea is that I would drive somewhere out in the middle of nowhere where no one will bother me, and that's where I cut my hair. So that is pretty much the back of the vehicle, and now I'm going to show you what it looks like when I am inside the van. Alright, so let's start out with lighting. So I have these 4 bright overhead lights that I can control with the switch back here, and also my reading light here that's on this flexible neck. As you can see, I like hanging my clothes, which is why I made this open closet using this metal rod that's attached to the ceiling. Up here is my rooftop vent / fan, and I will keep this open in the summer when it's hot and at night when I'm sleeping. And because this is such a small living space, I have to make sure I have good airflow. That way I get fresh air, and also I avoid building up condensation on my windshield. When I turn on this fan, it draws air from the front 2 windows and up and through the vent. On my windows, I installed these wind deflectors, which allow me to crack them open slightly without people noticing that they're open. And they also allow me to keep them open even when it's raining. For my ceilings and walls, they're all insulated, and my walls are lined with vinyl upholstery. This right here is my ice chest, and it doesn't hold an awful lot of food because I usually pack this thing with 3/4 of the way with ice, and it doesn't leave me with a whole lot of space left. But it does keep my food cold for like maybe a week and a half in winter, and maybe more like 5 or 6 days in the summer. Now, how do I cook? I have two options. The first option is this hot plate here, and I would plug this into a 12-volt socket, and it would heat up food in a glass Tupperware. Now, the only issue with this is that it takes about like 2 or 3 hours to get food hot. So if I plan ahead before I get hungry, then it's not the worst thing. The second option is a butane stove. Now, what I would do with that is I would take this ice chest and I'll put it right outside my van, and I'll put the stove on top of the ice chest. Then I would use my bed as a countertop space. Obviously, this isn't stealthy anymore, so I do have to drive out somewhere like a big parking lot where no one will care, and I would cook there. Now, I'm going to show you what it looks like when I get access to my toilet. So I open this lid up here, and then I have this bin. I just lift up like that. Just put that aside, and right here is my toilet, and I can sit on it like so. So super easy to get access to that. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you is how I set up my bed. So this foam mattress fold out like this. Then all my bedding is in this cabinet here. You know, I would lay this out like so. And I use a down sleeping bag as a blanket. So what I would do is it's actually a mummy bag, and what I do is I just unzip it all the way and kind of just use it like a blanket, like this. All right, so I'm gonna put that away now. Hey, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're new to this channel, you should know that one of my goals is to create community. That's why I'm planning meetups here in Santa Cruz, California, where I currently live full-time in the van. So if you want to join me in person along with others that follow this channel, please sign up down below to get more information. If you want to support the videos I make, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and consider supporting me on Patreon. My name is Evan, and this was the van that's behind Stories from a Van. Take care.